Hi everybody, my name is Miles Wallace and I am with Peak Performers. We're a nonprofit staffing and recruiting agency that helps professionals with disabilities find jobs and advance their careers. So an important thing to realize is that for me or any other recruiter in our company, every single time that we looked at your LinkedIn profile, we are secretly considering you for not only the roles that we have open, but also the roles that we may potentially have open in the future, both in our company as well as the placements that we do. And if you talk to pretty much any recruiter, that's pretty consistent across the board. So what does this mean for you? Well, first off, I would point out that most job seekers hold on to their job between 1 to 3 years on average. So the odds are you'll probably need to have a continuous job search strategy. That means that even if you're not looking right now, it can behoove you to make sure that you kind of sort of keep your options open to potential connections in the future. It's estimated that around 3/4 of all jobs are filled by who you know, and so a lot of these tips are really geared towards making sure that you keep your options open and keep your network open so that you can find your next job when it becomes time to do so. My first tip is, speaking of networking, always be networking. Never forget to bring your business cards with you. Make sure that you are always kind of having an opportunity to go out and meet new people, both that are lateral connections or people working in a similar position to yours, as well as vertical connections and people that might be the decision makers that help you get your next job. My second tip is make sure that you are professional and courteous to everyone, and that includes the person that's sitting at the front desk of the reception, because they do have an impact on how you are perceived within that company. Make sure that every single time you are interacting, treat everybody with respect and courtesy, and this will go a long way towards your reputation within that organization. My third tip is probably something that I struggle with the most, and that is don't be afraid to boast a little bit. And that's really important because we want to be seen as humble, right? But the challenge is that people don't know what you've done unless you tell them. So don't be afraid to use that opportunity to talk a little bit more about your specific accomplishments and your particular way of getting work done. It is something that people oftentimes will want to hear about. My fourth tip is don't be afraid to ask network connections if, quote unquote, you are hiring for a position kind of sort of like this. If they get uncomfortable with this kind of question or feel awkward with it, you can just say that you're asking for a friend. My fifth tip is make sure that you keep your resume and your LinkedIn profile pretty consistently updated. One of the hardest things for us to do is that when we lose a job is trying to go back in our memory and remember specific accomplishments and specific dates and specific things that we did along the way. It all kind of blurs together. So this is good practice for anyone. Just make sure that you periodically keep that kind of information updated so that you're always ready to go for your next opportunity. And my sixth tip is make sure that you respect your current employer. This is really important because you don't want to lose your current job just because you're looking for a new one. So make sure that you are doing all this stuff off the clock and on a personal device. Figure out how to transition any of these conversations into that particular format, because you do want to make sure that you respect your current employment situation as well. If you are looking for work, Peak Performers is happy to consider you, and we are actively taking resumes. You can apply at peakperformers.org. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.